from a massive ship carrying 4,300 cars capsizing only 23 minutes after leaving port, and a nuclear test in the Pacific Ocean that ended up going horribly wrong, to a chemical factory in Nevada exploding after a fire broke out, and an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico experts call the worst environmental disaster of all time. Here are 5 of the most expensive mistakes in all history. Number 5. The port of Beirut, located on the eastern bank of St. George Bay in Lebanon, is one of the largest and busiest ports in the eastern Mediterranean. It handles around 60% of the country's imports. However, on August 4, 2020, everything changed after a massive explosion. To fully understand the incident, we need to go back to September 2013 when a cargo ship carrying 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, a chemical compound used in fertilizer, was detained in Beirut after it failed to pay the Suez Canal toll. The Lebanese government seized the ship and its cargo, and the ammonium nitrate was moved to a warehouse on the dock. It remained there collecting dust until 2020. Unfortunately, someone thought it was a good idea to store a batch of fireworks next to the highly explosive chemicals, and when a fire broke out in the warehouse, it triggered a massive explosion. A crew of firefighters arrived to fight the blaze and reported hearing a strange sound. At about 6 p.m., the first explosion sent a large cloud of smoke into the sky and damaged the entire warehouse. The first blast was like 2 tons of TNT. However, 30 seconds later, a second explosion shook the entire country and was felt as far as Turkey, Jordan, Israel, and parts of Europe. It was like a small nuke going off in the port of Beirut, between 1,000 and 1,500 tons of TNT. The explosion claimed 218 lives and caused about $15 billion in property damage. The incident occurred when Lebanon was already facing other problems, such as a collapsing economy, a 50% unemployment rate, and a defaulting government. The explosion made international headlines, and the people of Beirut are still dealing with its aftermath today. Number 4. The Suez Canal literally makes the world go round, playing a major role in the trade routes between the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Between 7 and 10% of the world's oil moves through the Suez yearly. In fact, about 1 million barrels of oil move through the canal every day. So, when the Evergreen, a 1,300-foot container ship, got stuck for 6 days, it brought international trade to a standstill. Experts estimated that every hour the ship remained stuck in the canal, it would delay $400 million worth of goods. Furthermore, every day it remained stuck would disrupt another $9 billion worth of goods. So, what happened? On March 23rd, the Evergreen got caught in a sandstorm as it traveled through the Suez Canal. 46-inch winds took control of the ship and turned it sideways, causing it to run aground and block the canal on both ends. The Evergreen was part of a 21-ship convoy en route from Malaysia to the Netherlands. It was the 5th vessel through the canal, forcing 15 others to get stuck behind it. It took 6 days to get the ship unstuck, but the domino effect it had on the supply chain lasted for months. However, it did cause us to rethink how the global supply lines work, specifically our reliance on just-in-time manufacturing. Michael Saifi, a writer for The Guardian, called it a worst-case scenario that many saw coming. So, aside from the cost of the blocked cargo, a settlement with the Egyptian Suez Canal Authority cost the owners and insurers of the Evergreen $550 million. Number 3. Oil remains a crucial part of the global economy, and those who invest in its extraction can earn a lot of money. Unfortunately, history is full of examples of drilling accidents, but none compared to the Deepwater Horizon disaster of 2010. Located about 41 miles off the coast of Louisiana, this oil drilling rig was exploring new prospects when a blowout occurred. This caused a large pocket of methane gas to rush up through the pipes, resulting in an explosion and fire on the rig. A rescue effort was quickly launched to evacuate the crew, but sadly 11 members were never found and are presumed dead. The rig burned for more than a day before it sank on April 22nd. The situation only got worse from there, as roughly 8,000 barrels of oil spilled into the sea per day for 87 days. In total, Over 210 million gallons of oil leaked out. In July, the well was finally capped, but the damage had already been done. In November 2012, BP pleaded guilty to 11 counts of manslaughter and settled federal criminal charges with the U.S. Department of Justice. As part of the punishment, BP was temporarily banned from entering into new contracts with the U.S. government, among other things. Evidence of the oil could still be found on shores all over the Gulf for years after the disaster. By 2018, cleanup costs, charges, and penalties had cost BP over $65 billion. To this day, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill is considered one of the biggest environmental disasters in history. Number 2. During the 1950s, the United States conducted numerous atomic weapon tests, primarily in Nevada, but they also tested in the remote Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The first test under Operation Castle was called Castle Bravo and occurred on March 1, 1954. The device was expected to produce a yield of 6 megatons, but it ended up producing 15 megatons due to an unexpected reaction from using lithium-7. This caused an extreme amount of fallout, particularly pulverized surface coral, which contaminated the surrounding area, including the residents of Utirik and Rongelap atolls. The military evacuated the residents of these islands over 3 days, but it was too late, and hundreds suffered from radiation sickness, including 23 members on a Japanese fishing vessel who were contaminated by the heavy fallout. The news led to an international incident over atmospheric thermonuclear testing, but since the blast took place in the ocean, the fallout soon spread around the world, including India, Australia, and the United States. The United States Department of Energy found that 253 inhabitants of the islands were impacted by the fallout, with many suffering from symptoms like vomiting, alopecia, and skin lesions. The United States government has paid over $604 million to the affected atolls and communities, which is over $1 billion when adjusted for inflation. Number 1. Nuclear power is a clean and sustainable energy source that has the ability to power a small city with a single plant, making it a great alternative to burning fossil fuels. However, despite its advantages, there are some who oppose it. This was made clear in the spring of 1986 when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant experienced a catastrophic disaster. The incident occurred during a safety test on reactor number 4, which was meant to simulate what would happen during a power failure. Due to a combination of factors including incompetence, ego, power structures, and a design flaw, the test did not go according to plan. Within a minute, the nuclear reaction was no longer controlled, and it began to accelerate at an ever-increasing rate. Despite efforts to restore power, the reactor core was exposed, and a powerful explosion occurred, resulting in the release of radioactive contaminants into the air. The contamination spread to surrounding areas and even drifted into other countries. The Soviet Union tried to hide the disaster from the outside world until it was discovered that radioactive material had reached Sweden. After years of investigations, it was found the significant design flaw in the control rods caused the disaster. The rods were 4.3 feet shorter than they were supposed to be, and the bottom of each rod was made of graphite instead of the required neutron-absorbing boron carbide. The graphite tips displaced the neutron-absorbing water, which actually increased the reaction instead of slowing it down. The total economic cost of the disaster is estimated to be around $235 billion, making it the costliest mistake in history. The area surrounding Chernobyl remains uninhabitable to this day, and a containment dome was installed to capture the radioactive particles. It has a lifespan of 100 years, after which it will need to be replaced. Scientists predict that the area will not be safe to live in for at least another 20,000 years. To watch another video similar to this one, click the link on the screen now. Thank you for watching and make sure to tune in for the next one.